Hello to everyone, and thank you very much for joining the ATII Anti-Human Trafficking Intelligence Initiative's first annual Child Safety Summit. My name is Matt Richardson. I'm the Director of Intelligence and Investigations with the ATII, and most importantly, I'm a loving and caring father, I'm a helper, and I'm a protector of children and teens. Today, joining me with great thanks is Alani Bankhead, recently retired Internet Crimes Against Children investigator from the great state of Hawaii, with our special friend, the one and only amazing Lulu. Alani, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and Lulu?
Yeah, no, Matt, thanks so much to you and to ATII for having us today. We're so excited to have this conversation with you. I have almost 20 years of experience in military and government and doing investigations, and I'm really passionate about protecting kids. And I have my partner in justice, Lulu. Oh, thank you, my sweet girl. So Lulu is an electronic detection canine, and she does two jobs. Her first and primary job is she finds digital media. So laptops, cell phones, thumb drives, iPads. So those types of items sometimes can contain inappropriate pictures of kids. And so she helps us find those for police. And Lulu's also a comfort dog for kids. So whenever we interact with kids and sometimes they're having a bad day, she loves to do high five. Oh, my sweet girl. Thank you so much. Lulu will do all sorts of tricks. So you already saw her high five. One of my personal favorites is pound it. Pound it. Oh, my good girl. And then we always like to say hello and good morning to the audience. So Lulu, what's up? What's up? What's up? Oh, good girl. She says hello to all you kids out there. We're so happy to be here with you guys. And we're excited to talk with Matt a little bit about kind of what's going on lately in the internet safety world. So.
Well, thank you, Alani, and thank you, as always, a Lulu. Virtual fist bump, my partner in justice as well. God bless you. Alani, I guess where I want to start, you have an extensive background, and you are truly one of the most caring, empathetic, and kind protectors and helpers I've ever met, and I've met a few. I would like to begin with, we're talking about online safety and being safe while we enjoy the internet. Is there any particular story or an experience you have that you might share with us that would help us be safe while we have fun online?
Yeah, that's such a good question, Matt. And I think when I think about when I was, the age of the people that are watching today, there were a lot of things I didn't know. And so, guys, when I was your age, I was on the internet. Now, the internet was brand new and it took forever to dial up. It wasn't like just on your phone. You had to wait 10, 15, 20 minutes for it to get warmed up. But I was in your shoes. And, it's funny. We're not going to talk to you today about the normal stuff you hear about in school, right? Like make your profile private. So my story actually about internet safety involves me being logged into this old website called AOL. And an adult man reaching out to me and setting up a relationship with me. He would talk to me. He would say really nice things. He eventually started sending me pictures of him that really weren't appropriate. And what's really crazy about that is that happened, I don't know, 25 years ago. And my parents still don't know about it. Because I didn't feel comfortable talking to my parents. So yeah, I just want first and foremost, you guys to know that this happens a lot. And this is why parents and teachers and schools always want to talk about internet safety, because we know that this stuff is happening out there.
Well, and thank you, Alani. And just to go back to that, I know there's many reasons that, frankly, people of all ages don't want to talk to anyone. They're embarrassed. It feels scary or gross. We think we might get our technology taken away from us, even though it's not our fault, or we get threatened, we might get arrested. Alani, is there anything on that, knowing that those things are out there and that some of our fears are those things? What would you say to our children on the line on this call? Why should they not hesitate to get help?
Yeah, those are such good questions, and so many things come to mind. First and foremost, as a kid, you're just trying to figure life out, right? You're living under your parents' rules, and you have rules at school that you have to follow, but also you want to know where you fit in the world, right? You want to know who your friends are. You want to know where you feel safe, where you can be yourself. And that can sometimes be a really hard thing to do, even as an adult. And so, why the internet safety conversation is so important with that is a lot of times, adults will try to take advantage of, they know that you're a kid that is trying to find a place to fit in, and people who love them and appreciate them as they are. And as far as, your parents, I mean, there's a whole rabbit hole we could go down with this, but with your parents, they love you. And I get that sometimes they can be kind of tough, but it's because they want to make sure that you're safe and that everything's okay. And so, sometimes it might be scary for us to try to tell them about stuff that's happening online, whether it's because we worry that our iPad or our phone's going to get taken away, or if maybe sometimes we did something, like we sent a picture or we said something in a text chat that we know if our parents saw it, they would get really, really mad at us. I totally understand how you would feel that way, because I felt that way at the same time. I knew that if my parents saw this chat, if I reported it, that they could see that I had been talking to this guy for a long time, and they would be really mad that I was having a conversation with an adult that they didn't know. But I, as a parent, and Matt as a parent, and your parents, we all love you guys a lot, and we just want to make sure that you're safe. And so, keep in mind that a lot of times, since these older adults will try to take advantage of you wanting to fit in and you wanting to meet people that you think love you, these people, they don't actually really love you that much. They're just pretending to love you when they're, adults. But as far as how do you know, when something is wrong, because as a kid, you're still trying to figure out your emotions, right? And I say the most basic thing to be aware of is, inside your body, you have feelings. And sometimes, when you're angry, when you're sad, whatever it might be, but sometimes you get a feeling in your body that you're like, this is weird. I don't know what it is. It feels weird though. And even if you don't fully understand it, I suggest that you go talk to a trusted adult about it, because they can help you try to understand what the feeling is. And if there's something bad happening, then they can do something about it. And it's not your fault. It's not on you at all. So.
And thank you. And I love that point right there, Alani. Parents aren't looking to get you into trouble or punish you. I'm going to say I'm older than Alani. I'm an 80s kid. Have you heard of the 80s? We had phone books and pay phones and TV guides that were printed. It was a very different time, and it's a very different place. And I have made mistakes, believe me. And I grew up in an easier time because everything I did not have a permanent record. So we as parents know and understand it's not easy. It's not if you're ever going to make a mistake, it's when you do and what you do about it. So
I love that so much, Matt. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it just goes to show, you and I both on this call, we've both done things that our parents wouldn't be so happy about. But we're learning, right? It might have been a stupid thing, but we have people around us to protect us. So true.
Absolutely. And as parents, as teachers and caring adults, we know that. And the mark of it is this: if you make a mistake, and we all make them, you do not have to keep making it. Bad guys are what I call tricky people, might try to say lies or scare you into doing it again and again. And you don't have to do that. You do not want to do that. Stop, block, and talk. Stop talking. Don't explain it. Block them, but don't delete or erase anything. And talk to a trusted helper or adult. Alani is an example of a helper, and I know them. There's nothing your parents and helpers won't do to protect you. There's nothing will stop that. It's not about blaming you, it's helping you. So you need to know that you can go and get help and you won't be blamed. I think that's really important.
Yes, absolutely. I love that.
Well, and Alani, on that one, they're tricky people. Can we talk for a moment about, how they might find us and try to start talking to us online, and what might they ask us to do? How would they talk to us? Because it's not usually scary and gross, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, most of the time they act like they're your friend, or, like you were saying, they're so tricky, right? So they can show up in a lot of different ways. So sometimes they show up as someone that's your age, but sometimes when we're online, we say things in our profile that aren't true about us. I know as a girl, I always wanted to be older. So I would put in my profile that I was 18, even though I was 14 or whatever it might be. So I was lying when I was on the internet, right? So on the flip side, there are a lot of adults, a lot of tricky people that want to hurt kids that lie and say that they're a kid. So they can talk to you about, maybe it's your favorite game, like Roblox or something like that. Any application, anything that has internet that it uses to work, there are going to be tricky people on there, and they'll have pictures. Their profile is going to look so like legitimate. And yeah, usually they approach you and they're really nice and they just want to be your best friend. And sometimes they might ask for icky feeling things early. Sometimes it might take them days, weeks, or months. And so it's important to know that a lot of times they're very patient, and they'll try to become best friends with you. Some people we've seen, they do end up becoming best friends, or so the kids think. The kid will say, "Oh, my best friend's online," but your best friend's an adult and they've been lying to you the whole time. There are so many other ways that they could present. One of the things that they love to try to do also is create isolation. So separate you from all the people in your life that do love you. So remember how I mentioned when you're younger, you're trying to fit in. And sometimes, I don't know about how guys feel. I'm assuming it's similar, but as a young girl, especially, I always just felt like I never really fit in and like nobody really understood me. And so to find someone in that online space that I felt, oh my goodness, this person knows me, and they know that I don't get along with my parents, because I didn't get along with my parents at the time. They try to make it so that you love them more than you love your family members and your teachers. And they try to tell you, no, they don't understand you. Only I understand you. That's a really tricky tool that they use to try to get you to love them more and trust them so that they can abuse you later on. So.
Well, Alani, fantastic and well put. And I'll just touch on two of those points briefly. Is the internet's a lot of really great things, and it does more for us than it takes away by a long shot, because people are inherently good.
Yes.
The bad guys are small in number. The helpers are mighty in number comparatively. But it's not a fabulous friend-making machine, because there's ample opportunity for them to trick us. So there are things called websites that generate faces of people that never existed. There's voice changers, which I've prank called my parents with. That was hilarious, though. True story. Or there's even deep fakes where they can take a few pictures of me, and in an hour or two of learning the tool, they can make me look like I'm in a video that I was never in. People can be anything they say and anyone they want online. There's too many chances to take, because it's easier to trick people with this stuff, as you mentioned, Alani. And I think the other part I'd just like to build on there is that if it's too good to be true, so they do drive, I call it the wedge. They start to pull you away gradually. If this is mom and dad and this is you, they start to try to drive a wedge between you. So you need them for the three human universal needs, Alani. We all need love and affection.
Yeah.
We need hugs and kisses, and we need kindness and warmth. We all need social circles, friends, and we all need recognition when we do good things. These people, the bad guys, the tricky people, there's a myth that they're super intelligent. I haven't found that to be true of you, Alani. I'd say they're cunning, but they're not. The intelligent ones are the two in front of you right now.
Yes.
And the others behind us, they can't see, aren't they, Alani?
Yes, absolutely.
But because they're cunning, they're really good at seeing vulnerabilities, which are not weaknesses. We all have them. I have mine, you have yours. Yeah. And they're really good at coming in and saying all the things that you need to hear, that you want to hear, as Alani mentioned. They're really good at seeming to be everything you've ever wanted, but they're in fact everything you're afraid of.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much, especially because, you know, like Matt's saying, is the intelligent ones are in front of you. The intelligent ones are the brave law enforcement officers and the intelligence analysts and all the people that we get to work with every single day who are trying to protect you that you don't know about, right? And so just keep in mind that one of the reasons why we emphasize this so much is because you're a child. And that doesn't mean that you're not awesome and super smart yourself, but you're still growing. And there are parts of your brain that aren't done growing yet. And so because we understand how the brain develops, until your brain is fully formed and you're able to make really like it's super amazing, intelligent decisions, like not eating that fifth Oreo cookie. I mean, who can stop, really? I'm just saying. I know I couldn't when I was a kid, but I can as an adult now, you know, because I understand that I shouldn't eat the cookie, even though I want to. My brain knows when to stop eating the Oreo cookies. But right now, sometimes for you, I know it's hard to get away from another episode of your favorite show or from your favorite game, right? And so that's why we like to emphasize that it's the adult's responsibility to protect kids everywhere in the world. And so if there is an adult who's doing these behaviors of trying to split you apart, like, you know, Matt was explaining from your parents, it is their fault, not yours. And that's why we're trying to kind of educate you guys today so that you don't have fear that you're going to get in trouble or that, you know, bad things are going to happen to you. I know sometimes we encounter kids that they wanted to say something about their abuse, but we're scared because they were worried they were going to go to jail. Like, can you imagine us putting kids in jail? Like, no. So I want you guys to know today that you as the child, if you're under 18, the law protects you, not the adult that's perpetrating the crime.
And that's why we have laws and protectors and helpers, is that very thing there. And believe it or not, I was your age once. And I make mistakes. I know you're going to make them. Alani knows too. Her job is not to get you in trouble. It is to help fix it. Make you say, or we don't want to take your tech away. We just actually aspire for you to be empowered with the skills to use it responsibly and safely. Because I know, Alani, I love looking at the bright side of it, and it doesn't make the news. I'm in the news and stuff, but it's not the light stuff I do that is really who I am. I have a farmer up the road from me. He's 63 and he raised over $50,000 for a family who lost their fire in a house, didn't have insurance. And in my small little town, I have a woman that raised something $60,000-$70,000 for a family whose little boy had leukemia and he had to travel for treatment. That's what people are like, and the technology gives so much. Plus, where would we have been without Skype and social media during COVID? We weren't as isolated. It is beautiful, and humanity is beautiful. There are enough tricky people that we do have to be safe, but doesn't mean we have to be scared. Alani, would you agree if we're out there taking the best of the technologies, we're empowered just to be able to make good decisions, and we know we can get help when to get it, and we know we can get it and go to the right people? In all of your experience, would you say those simple things protect us from the vast majority of any of the risks, as scary as it might seem? Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. There's hundreds of thousands of people like us out there behind the scenes, like Matt's saying, protecting you guys, and you never hear about it. And that's because we do believe as kids, your job is to just be a kid. Just go have a good time, go learn and play outside and make friendships and all that stuff. When abuse gets introduced, it disrupts your ability to really have fun. And that's really what it's all about, is we just want you to grow up and be healthy and go do amazing things. And I agree too with you, Matt, that the internet can be a really cool place. I love dog accounts, any type of dog video. I mean, there's so much funny stuff out there, right? That can make you laugh when you're having a hard day or something like that. You stay connected to your friends, even though we couldn't physically see each other because of COVID a lot, right? You could still message your friends and send funny little notes and pictures and just share your day with them. And I agree completely. Like, I know we've been talking about some scary stuff, but we do want you to know that it's really not as bad. There's so much more good out in the world, but we do need you to be aware of what's happening out there, because sometimes things don't really work out how you expected, and you just need to know what to do next. So just like in the police academy, we spend hours and hours doing mental preparation. We run through scenarios because we want to know when that thing happens that we already know what we're going to do. And so just like with you guys, you got a little bit of police academy training today. So welcome to the fight and, keeping our communities safe. And we thank you guys.
I love that, Alani. And I'd love to build on that one. For our children on the call, if mom and dad and teacher and other caring adults talk about this more than once, it's because it needs to be. Remember what Alani said about the police academy. You prepare time again, and it becomes like your body has a memory of it and you have a response ready quickly, confidently. So it's like a muscle memory thing. Like if you golf, you have to swing 1,000 times and your swing gets better. It's that kind of thing, Alani, as you know, because it's not a one. And teachers and caring adults have joined us today. I have this conversation routinely with my children. I'll maybe share a few tips for what works in my house and ask Alani to comment. But if there was a couple of things that I can say, I get asked this a lot. But number one, we parent children, not devices. We don't need to be tech experts. It's a red herring. You're getting lost on the wrong detail. Breathe. You know more than you're giving yourself credit for. You know the grooming behaviors. You know what enticement looks like. Think of the mall in the 80s. If someone tries to lure you to the mall to a van to take a drive or to get free modeling pictures, ding, 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 red flags. The internet is a different place. It's not the physical shopping mall. It's TikTok. Tomorrow it's something else. Yesterday it was Instagram. That ever evolves and changes. But as parents, my belief and from my experience, and it's worked, open and trusting environment. My child can come to me with anything, no judgment, no blame. Number two, age appropriate. We don't need scary or sensational details. It's useless. It's creepy pasta, we call it in my field. You don't need it. My son knows how to swim in the pool safely without any scary details of what could happen if he doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be said. And the third and final one I like to say is be present and engaged in your child's life. How was your day? What are you playing now? Is there any new skins in Fortnite? Any new filters in TikTok if they're using it? Ask them about their day. Ask them how things are with their friends. If there's anything new, just the way you and I want to be asked, let's just be there. And nothing can get that wrong that quick. And Alani, would you agree if there's any red flags? People are like, well, what app or what tool will find tricky people for me or that something's wrong? I don't believe technology is that smart yet. That takes a parent who's present and engaged. Alani, your thoughts on that?
No, I agree completely. I love what you said about parents focusing on the tech. And when I talk to parents, I love to start by telling them, parents, I understand you're overwhelmed with the technology. So are we. There's a new app that comes out every 5 seconds. And like we said earlier, if it's attached to the internet, there are going to be tricky people on it. And so the biggest thing isn't to try to understand the technology really well, because it's going to change. But what's most important is loving your kid. And I tell parents that I talk to that if you just communicated a little bit better with your kids and had open conversations and, just continued to love them the way that you do, I'd have an 80% decrease in cases. Because a lot of times a simple tweak in communication would have made all the difference in bringing stuff up to light, and it doesn't have to be a hard conversation. It can just be a very simple, hey, I love you. Like, tell me what's going on, and no, I love what you said. I agree completely.
Well, thank you, Alani. And we have our experiences and time in the field. And one thing I'd like to point out is we know what can happen, and Alani and I aren't afraid. We are clearly very happy. And look at Lulu. Like, how could not love a mug like that? Because you don't have to be. You can be safe online while enjoying it. You can have fun and be a kid. Parents, you can get the job done. One tip I like to give, as a busy work from home father, with like 5 different jobs in my life, all right, and through COVID. And I had 2 kids at different ages home. I would get a little pocket here and there of quiet headspace. And once in a while, with my phone, I'd go outside for a rich cup of coffee and I'd take a 10-minute air break. Sometimes I look up sports and just local news. Other times I'll do a quick Google. New apps, predators, new apps and risks and things like that. New apps and privacy features, common sense keywords. I call it the coffee break Google. You can keep up with the tech. And Alani, you mentioned 5 seconds ago, right now, and 5 seconds from now, there's new apps. You can't keep up. I can't. Alani, you can't. Lulu, you might be able to. But one rule I use in my home is 3. So my son has 3. Before approving it, step 1, I vet it or check it out and make sure I'm comfortable with it. The second rule, 3. You have 3. I can do 3. You can do 3. I can Google anything I need to know and get it quick. Any more than 3, you're in a losing battle. 3. If he wants a new one and I background it and vet it and I think I'm okay with it, he has to remove one of the other ones he has. I will give him 3. I do look for, I'm not a big fan, Alani, of vilifying or targeting my attention and energy on the apps because it's wherever they're popular, as you said astutely, tricky people go wherever we are. But I do look for things like privacy and trust and verification or trust and safety. That's how strong of a team and tools they have to protect us on it. How easy is it to report harassment or abuse? And how strong and robust are the privacy settings and filters? And if I don't get a good feeling on any one of those 3, let alone more than one, I red X that when I call it red X. That's kind of how I filter them. What do you think, Alani, of that?
No, I love that. And you know, one of my favorite words or phrases that you use was, if I don't feel like it works for me or my kid, I don't do it. So there's no set formula for how to do it. It's whatever works for your family. And it's trial and error. And, you know, you might be asking yourself, well, how do I know if the trust and privacy is at a level that I like it? Matt, tell me more. But the facts are, it's your family. What's different for Matt might be different for my family. And it's just about getting out there and getting smart on, well, what does that feel like for me? What makes me feel like I'm adequately protecting my kids? And so there are plenty of resources where you can check information out, like NCMEC has National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has amazing resources through their NetSmarts page. But there are lots of communities online where parents can talk about, you know, hey, what works for you? And do you have any tips? Or even in your neighborhood, you know, you can be the one to start the conversation, but you know your family best. Each child has a different level of maturity.
Yes.
And you take that into account as well. And so, you know, they're great trust building opportunities with your kids to, you know, communicate a little bit more and build on that over time.
Love that trust building. See, these aren't bad things. Children on the call and our caring adults, they legit, Alani, super well put. When my son wants an app, it's an opportunity to have a conversation and set the rules of engagement, the do's and don'ts. I give him do's and don'ts. I'm going to check it and I'm going to do this, and you can't change this depending on them. It's all different. It's very organic, as you mentioned, Alani. My son's responsible, I think, a little beyond his years, so it's easy on me. The other one, I don't know yet. I mean, it might be different. But I love the fact that it is an opportunity to have a conversation. Oh, yeah, by the way, parents, teachers, caring adults, ask them what you shouldn't do, because my son will say, please don't like my friend's posts because it embarrasses me and things like that. And we think we're cool and stuff, but you can embarrass them. So
we're not.
Right. We're not. We're so I do love that message, Alani. I got to ask you something too, as an expert and a legitimately super loving, caring protector. One common denominator, and this is so important for our caring adults and our children on the call, our kiddos. One thing I've observed, and I've seen them say it when I do, them being the tricky people, is people exhibit and conduct in risky things they would never dream of doing offline. So if you were walking home, Alani, from the gym, and I approached you out of the blue and asked you if I could take pictures of you, get a video clip, what are you doing later? What kind of guys do you like? Do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Do you want to hang out later? No one needs to know. I'm trying to get you to keep a secret. You would run, most of you. I say this all the time in classrooms across Canada, and it's never a different answer. Yet we do it online freely. And mathematically, Alani, would you agree, the odds of running into a dangerous man on the street in pretty much any of our communities, statistically, is pretty low. But online, there are 4 billion people. It's actually way more dangerous. So Alani, like, would it be fair to say, if we begin to say something like, if I wouldn't do it or say it offline on the street, I therefore will not do it online? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And that's what we tell our daughter as well. But I think that also begs the point that you had mentioned earlier about, sometimes the screen, you feel like you're safer because you're behind it. So you feel like, maybe it'd be okay to talk to them. What's the worst that could happen, right? But again, those tricky people sometimes use that to start building that trust with you and start separating you from your parents and your loved ones and stuff like that. And so that's why they love using that screen. And again, why we keep emphasizing, if you did something on a screen that, your parents in real life would not be happy about, it's okay. Like, we make mistakes all the time. I make mistakes all the time. And so it's really all about just saying, oh, I made a mistake, mom and dad. I know I shouldn't have been talking to this person, but they, sent me a picture or said something that makes me really uncomfortable. I wanted to let you know, kind of thing. But so again, it's just all about learning and building that trust and just growing up and knowing how to navigate the internet in healthy ways. That's what we want you to have fun on the internet. We want it to be safe. So
I love that. Enjoying the internet in healthy ways. Mm-hmm. So it's avoiding risk and making good choices while we enjoy all the many, many benefits, and we get exposure to the most beautiful colors that humanity has to offer. Because yes, humanity is beautiful. Trust me. There are far more Alanis and Lulus than there are tricky people that frankly don't stand a chance. If you help us help you, if you tell, even if you feel uncomfortable and get help, the Alanis and the Lulus of the world have every advantage. They're more intelligent. We outnumber them. We have the technologies and we have the friends across the world. You are not alone ever. Your parents love you more than you. Your parents, your teachers, your friends, people haven't even met you. People like me and Alani, we don't know you, but you might as well be our children. We love you. And that is the reality. There is help, and we outgun the tricky people. But we need to know so that we can help you. And it's very important that you trust the helpers and the protectors. You won't be blamed. You will be helped. You always are loved, loved, loved.
Yes, absolutely. We love you guys so much. And this has been just such an amazing conversation.
This has been Alani. Thank you so kindly. And Lulu, could you give me a fist bump for Lulu?
Did you pat it? Oh, good.
Good girl. Who loves Lulu? Canine Lulu's awesome. That's her Instagram, by the way. I follow her. I love Canine Lulu at Instagram. You should check that out. It's an account that will really help you further understand what we're talking about today. Is that it's all okay and there's helpers out there, and it's not that scary if we know when to get help and we get it when we need it. Alani, is there anything you'd like to leave as a closing statement before I wrap us up for today's call?
No, just, again, the point of the conversation is not to leave you scared. The point is to leave you smart and empowered. And so you know what to do, that mental preparation that we talked about. And so just remember, communicate. Even if you don't do it perfectly, just try to find a trusted person and just know that we love you and that there are a lot of people that are protecting you out there while you're sleeping because we want you to just be a kid. And so aloha. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Alani, and thank you, Lulu. And before we wrap, I do want to thank everyone for coming. I trust that you found some empowering, positive advice. I certainly trust that you've enjoyed this and learned a few new things. And I hope you feel better, because this is scary, but not when you look at it the right way. It's empowering, knowing knowledge is power. I do hope that we will stay on at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be having a live Q&A from 11:30 until 12 p.m. with myself and our friend Alani and Lulu. as well as Stacia Sheehan from the National Center Missing Exploited Children, and Dominic Vogel, cybersecurity expert, loving father, and believe it or not, a comedian too, which is pretty cool. So I hope to see you all in the live event. Thank you for tuning in. And as my friend Alani would say, mahalo.
Mahalo, aloha.